Imagine for a moment that you are a shadow, a dark, dirty smear, standing beside a star that burns with pure light. The star has a destiny greater than you can fathom. Everyone loves him, praises him, and worships his brilliance. His power outshines everything. The star looks upon you with kindness, willing to share his light. But to you, that light is a curse. It exposes everything you hate about yourself. The grime, the emptiness, the fact that you will never shine like he does. So you decide to destroy the star, to steal his light, his love, and his destiny. Instead of him, you will be the star. This is the mind of a shadow, consumed by envy. This is the nature of Rachel from Tower of God. This video contains spoilers from the anime Tower of God and minor mentions of things from the webtoon. There will be no major spoilers from the webtoon in this video. At the top of the tower exists everything in this world, and it can all be yours. You can become a god. This is the story of Rachel, the girl who climbed the tower to see the stars, and B.A.M, the boy who needed nothing but her. This is a statement from the beginning of Tower of God. There she is, right at the start of it all. Rachel, a girl so hateable that she drowns every single element in this grand story with her power. So impactful that every villain in a new webcomic is called the new Rachel. In spite of having some serious competition in this area, Rachel has become one of the most hated women in anime and webtoon history, with an army of people who despise her. Yes, that's 1.3 billion reads. How did she achieve this? How did Rachel stand out from countless characters in Tower of God and demand our attention and our hatred? Let's talk about it. Tower of God is a fantasy adventure story centered around a mysterious, magical tower that seems to overshadow the whole world outside. Now, we don't know much about the outside world, but we hear some stuff about the tower itself. What do you desire? Honor and pride? Power and influence? Money and riches? Revenge, or to transcend all such things? Climb the tower and everything will be yours. At the top of the tower, everything exists in the world. Now, I don't know what that means, okay? It's very vague, and it's the biggest mystery at the heart of the story itself. What is at the top of the Tower of God? We, the viewers, desperately want to see it, but the person who wants it most is Rachel. Rachel wishes to stand at the top of the tower, to be free and see an endless sky full of stars, which apparently you can only see from the top of the tower. In episode 1, she races away from her friend B.A.M to the massive gates of the tower, desperate to be let in. The tower only lets in the people it chooses, and she wants to be the chosen one. For one instant, you feel sympathetic for her. Who wouldn't want to see the endless sky? Who wouldn't chase freedom? But climbing the tower is no easy feat. In fact, no one has ever seen the true top of the tower. The highest anyone's ever gotten is level 134. The tower is an extremely dangerous place, and you have to cross difficult, impossible tests in order to get from one level to the next. The entire tower is filled with a magic called Shinsu. It's kind of like divine magic water. It's a mystical substance that makes all life and power within the tower. It can be converted into fire, electricity, insane lasers, whatever you like. It extends the life of its users and makes them incredibly powerful people, but only if you have an affinity for it. Rachel has no affinity for Shinsu. Even the slightest touch from Shinsu makes her keel over in a coughing fit. For people without any affinity, Shinsu can be like poison. In spite of this, Rachel dreams of being powerful and feared. She wants to beat all of these powerful magic users and climb to the top of the tower, and she is obsessed with these fantasies. She believes she deserves the top of the tower more than anyone else, almost as if she has a right to it. But this alone doesn't make her hateable, right? I mean, every anime starts with a character who is weak, an underdog, who goes on to beat people far stronger than them. The reason why we hate Rachel is because of the person she left behind when she came to the tower, the boy named B.A.M. B.A.M, or Yoru in the Japanese anime, is the protagonist of Tower of God, and a character who stands in stark contrast to Rachel in every single way. B.A.M is innocent and sweet, and Rachel really isn't. B.A.M is honest to a fault, and Rachel is a serial liar and manipulator. But most critically, to Rachel, the most important thing is to climb the tower. To B.A.M, the most important thing is Rachel. B.A.M has no memories of who he really is. All he remembers is being trapped inside a deep, dark cave full of rubble, hanging on for dear life to survive. That's when the earth above him cracked open and light came into his life with the shadow of his savior, the only person he had ever seen, Rachel. Rachel taught B.A.M how to speak, how to read, how to just be a person. She was his only friend, but it went beyond that. She was an almost maternal figure in his life. She would take care of B.A.M and leave to go to an unknown location periodically, and this was his whole life. We don't know what Rachel's life was like outside of that cave, but we do know that to B.A.M, Rachel was everything. He literally couldn't fathom existence without her. So when Rachel decided to run for the tower and leave him behind, B.A.M is heartbroken. He is in tears, and here's where I noticed something really strange. Rachel doesn't ask him to come along with her. It doesn't seem like she asked him and he refused. The tower would be easier to climb with company, and it doesn't seem like only one of them can get in. So why did she have to abandon him? Rachel doesn't just seem like she wanted to climb the tower. It seemed like she wanted to get away from the life she had outside the tower, and that included B.A.M. She says she wants to be reborn, in her own words, and we don't know what that means until the last episode of Season 1. Rachel's goal isn't to simply climb the tower. Her goal is to be the lone star who climbed the tower. Rachel doesn't want help because she wants to do it alone and be revered for it. She wants to shine bright, be a brilliant, blessed ranker, chosen by the tower itself, who did something no one else has, reaching the absolute top. Whatever her life was outside was far from this glorious image, and she wants to shake it off. And part of letting go of that life is to discard B.A.M. The fact is, Rachel isn't as connected to B.A.M as he is to her. She did enjoy his company, but only because she liked being seen as the only light in his life. He made her feel special, but she wants to be special to everyone. And not only was B.A.M not a part of that plan, he was a direct threat to that plan. In the final episode of Season 1, we get to see things from Rachel's perspective. We see the massive doors of the tower open up to swallow her, and she is elated. She says to herself, "This is probably the peak of my life." But when she meets head-on the administrator of the first floor of the tower, she finds out a shocking truth. The doors didn't open for her. They opened for B.A.M. He is the chosen one, and she just happened to fall in by chance. Rachel is shattered. She cannot accept this reality. It is too much to bear that not only is she not special, but B.A.M is the special one. We kind of get the sense that she always disliked B.A.M, even before she got into the tower, but we aren't told why. She begs, pleads head-on to be let into the tower, to just be given a chance. The administrator agrees, and he gives her the first floor's test. The same test he gives to every candidate. They have to juke this giant eel monster and break an orb in its cage. The problem is, the big boy is insanely fast and made entirely of impenetrable steel. No big deal, just certain death. Rachel immediately says no. She says the challenge is too hard and totally unfair. She's not even going to attempt it because it's cruel. And honestly, her reaction is sensible. I mean, that thing is a monster. What is the point of trying if you're just gonna die? But then Head-On makes her hide and watch someone else take on the challenge. B.A.M. B.A.M followed Rachel into the tower. Of course, the doors opened for him again. He was the chosen one. When Head-On gives him the challenge, B.A.M immediately jumps to try it. Because more than death, B.A.M is afraid of being alone, of never seeing Rachel again. And this is what the test of the first floor is for. It's to see if you want to climb the tower so bad that you would risk your life over it. And Rachel fails that test. B.A.M gets a legendary weapon from a friend he makes on the first floor because, well, he is sweet and likable. B.A.M tackles the monstrous eel, letting it swallow him so he can attack it from inside. It is an incredibly difficult challenge, but he channels his love for Rachel to power through and manages to break the orb and move on to the second floor. Rachel is enraged by this and throws a proper fit. She thinks it's unfair that B.A.M got to have a weapon, and she whines about how he was stealing everything from her when all he did was follow her into the tower. She has no regard for how hard he worked. She is so incredibly petty, even Head-On calls her thinking shallow and her heart ugly. It's not that she is blind to how brave B.A.M was. She sees it and she hates him for it. She cannot stand that he succeeded where she couldn't, further proving that the tower was right to choose him. Now he was gonna go to the second floor while she was getting trashed on by Head-On. Rachel does get to the next floor of the tower, and I'll tell you how she did that later on. She obviously runs into B.A.M, and he continuously prioritizes her throughout the season. He saves her life, taking a big hit to his head in the process. She hates him even more for doing that, because his big heart makes her look worse. Again, she feels far from grateful. She hates him. B.A.M made several friends in the tower and rallies them to help Rachel. He swore that he would take her to the top of the tower with him, that they would see the stars together. Rachel's hatred only intensified because why does he have the power to help her? Why does he make friends and allies while she sits alone in the dark like an edgy emo teen? Why is he kind while her heart is dark? A person dies in the tower because of Rachel, and she uses this opportunity to pretend to be disabled. She knew she couldn't pass this floor's test without B.A.M and his friends helping her, so she sits in a wheelchair to get pity and manipulate people into helping her. God, it's so unlikable. B.A.M wanted her to achieve her dream throughout. I've never seen a better cheerleader. But Rachel herself admits that his words and actions reach nothing in her heart. She truly hated him for simply existing and being happier than she was. Her hatred of B.A.M and her obsession over the tower was so bad that we got to see one of the most shocking and appalling betrayals in anime at the end of season 1. After a whole season of being rolled around and served by B.A.M, Rachel needs his help to progress to the next level. In order to do this, everyone engages in a really risky challenge that poses a threat to all of their lives. And just when they're about to end it, right when they're at the finish line, Rachel takes action. She gets off her wheelchair and pushes B.A.M into the abyss. She watches him fall, leaving him to drown in the murky waters. When I tell you, this scene set me off! I was fuming! At this point, we didn't know anything from Rachel's perspective, okay? And to us, she was just B.A.M's friend who straight yeeted him for no reason. And as she throws him off, she says, "Instead of you, I will become the star." That is diabolical, okay? This scene single-handedly made her the most hated woman in anime and webtoon history. Even now, if you search top anime betrayals, Rachel will be on that list, right alongside Griffith. Blondes, I swear. After she kills B.A.M, or so she thinks, we see everything from Rachel's perspective in the following episode. We find out that Rachel had made a deal with Head-On all the way back on the first floor. that she would kill B.A.M in exchange for going to the second floor of the tower. That's how she got in, even after failing the test. No one and nothing is more important to Rachel than climbing the tower. The whole season, all she had done was lie to B.A.M and everyone else she met. And just when they trusted her, she destroyed them. And she felt no remorse for it. Well, almost no remorse. There are moments where Rachel feels pained and tortured, moments where she cries and even wants to tell B.A.M to run away from her. She looks like she feels bad, but I don't fully buy into it. It's a rather self-indulgent way of feeling bad. She doesn't feel bad enough to not actually kill him. And after she betrays him, she laughs alone in her room like a psycho. There is no redeeming her character after this betrayal. The question in our minds is simple. Why is Rachel like this? What circumstances made her be this way? The thing is, we don't fully know. Rachel's past before she met B.A.M is one of the big mysteries of this story, something we've only gotten hints about in the webtoon. She seems to know more about the tower and about B.A.M's true past than she lets on. She knows secrets about this world that no other character is privy to. I won't go into them because that would spoil some major reveals from the webtoon, which is far ahead of the show, and I don't want to do that in this video. But there is still some mystery about how she became so deeply insecure and flawed. And the Tower of God certainly didn't help. The world of the tower is a cruel, ruthless place, where hard work is basically meaningless. Sure, you can train and learn new powers if you have an affinity for them. But if someone is born to have more power than you, there is no hope of you ever beating them. You cannot beat luck. There are countless anime and comics where a powerless underdog slowly gains strength through training, but this is impossible in Tower of God. You cannot train or buy your way into Shinsu affinity or into a destiny. If the tower chooses you, you will move ahead, and if it doesn't, well, tough luck. This environment fosters incredible jealousy and resentment in a lot of characters, but especially in Rachel. She is not stupid nor blind to her flaws. She is acutely aware of every single one of her weaknesses. She feels deeply inferior to others, and that in turn causes her to want to be superior, to win at any cost, to cheat, lie, and even kill to get ahead. She burns with envy over the fact that others are stronger, more liked, and prettier than her, that they're better people than her. And what she hates most is that none of them earned any of this. They were just luckier. And to her, B.A.M is the luckiest of them all. This Reddit comment by Patahata says it best. B.A.M is an escapist character. We read about him to escape from our own lives. He appears into the tower and the first thing that happens is a genius princess drops from the ceiling, gives him a sword because she thinks he's cute. And then the sword gives him a power-up because the sword also thinks he's cute. B.A.M wins over characters even when he shouldn't. He learns what would take centuries in mere seconds. His power dwarfs even the geniuses of geniuses. No natural born can keep up with him, even putting in 1,000,000 times the effort. He is the chosen one, the child of buried history, returning to take his rightful place. This comment hits the nail on its head. B.A.M is quite literally the star of the tower, and most importantly, he is the star of the story. Rachel, to me, is a character that is desperate to just be the protagonist. It's strange, when she cries about how unlucky she's been, it feels almost as if she's speaking to the author himself. The author made B.A.M a star that shone so bright he made her look like a shadow. This isn't just disappointment for Rachel, this is humiliation, a deep wound that festers and burns, turning her into a monster. And that's particularly funny to me because she is actually one of the central characters in the story. Not only is she mentioned in the very first passage of the show, but the author says so himself. If the male protagonist is B.A.M, the female protagonist is Rachel. In fact, he admits that Rachel is his favorite character, and the author's close relationship with her is evident in the way he structures the story around her. Making a truly hateable character in fiction is not an easy or predictable task. It is almost never the main villains of the story, nor the most threatening or cruel characters. The most hated ones are the characters that hit closest to home, that remind us in a primal way of evil that we might encounter in our daily life. The villain-in-chief in Harry Potter is Voldemort, but the most hated character is usually Dolores Umbridge, representing the polite cruelty we often face from teachers growing up or as an adult from the HR rep. Game of Thrones is full of many horrible characters, but Joffrey takes the cake for being the most hated character. He was such an annoying, bratty child that not even Ramsay Bolton could top him, in spite of being far more vile. These characters don't just fall into the category of being hated, they're in the category of you love to hate them. It's an almost enjoyable experience to despise them. Viewers and readers eagerly wait for every next episode just to see if this character in particular will get what they deserve. They carry the story, making it all the more interesting, and in Tower of God, Rachel has this power. She represents betrayal and toxic relationships, something we are all too familiar with. Rachel is part of what made the story interesting and iconic, and she played a great role in making Tower of God the phenomenon it is today. If you watched this video to the end, thank you so much. I never imagined that so many of you would enjoy my videos. It's still unreal to me. I love each and every one of you. Thank you. And if you're new here, but you're interested in more deep dives into anime, comics, and storytelling, please subscribe. I'll see y'all later. Bye!